Hello and welcome to another FPL video. Today we're looking at a wildcard draft for Game Week 5. If you enjoy the video, make sure to leave a like button and subscribe if you're new. And without further ado, let's jump straight into things. So before we look at the actual draft, the best thing to do is to take a look at the upcoming fixtures. So on the screen here we have the fixtures from Game Week 5 to 11 from the teams that kind of have the biggest fixture swings. Now you'll see a lot of the teams kind of looking at like the Brightons and stuff have a bit more difficult games than the rest. Obviously a lot of us are kind of having like the likes of Estupinian, Matoma, maybe Ferguson as well in there, a couple of people with March and stuff. But you can see with the fixtures, Man United coming up, Liverpool and City also coming up. It's looking like a tough run for Brighton. I think maybe Estupinian could be one of those players that you can hold through these fixtures, but I think in general, if I'm wildcarding, I wouldn't be looking to have players like Matoma and March. At the top, you can also see Man United with a very nice fixture run. Liverpool are coming into a very nice fixture run as well. With that, there's really only Spurs and Brighton in there, and then it's really good fixtures for Liverpool. So maybe players like Diaz, Salah, maybe not too much worth the money. I think Diaz might be a better pick there, but Trent and stuff is going to come into play as well. Nunez as well if he can start a few more games. We've also got Luton as well, which are near the bottom. Now they've got the double game week coming up as well, so we're going to have a couple Luton players in this draft. And I think they probably could, because it's a good double game week. Unfortunately, it is Luton because Luton really aren't that great, but it's definitely going to be worth at least having one player, and we can look towards kind of the cheaper players, the 4 million defenders that we kind of have there, just to make sure that we have some Luton players in there as well. So starting us off with the draft, then we're going for the two goalkeepers being Bernd Leno and Areola. Now, Leno actually has been a fantastic goalkeeper so far this season. They've obviously played 4 games and they're still yet to keep a clean sheet. But Leno is still sitting on 19 points, which is the third highest point scoring goalkeeper in the game so far. So the save tiers, the save points and the bonus points are really making a massive difference for him. Areola, easily the best 4 million goalkeeper. He's been great from the start of the season. But the main reason I wanted to pick this is because of the good rotation between these two players. Now, Leno you've got for Palace and you've also got for Luton in Game Week 5 and 6, and then you can skip him for Chelsea and go for Areola against Sheffield. You also get right after that is Leno against Sheffield as well. Game Week 9 is where it gets a bit tough. You get Leno with Spurs away or Areola with Villa away. But as we've seen in the first couple of games, the fixtures don't really matter for Leno. He is probably going to get those saves, and I think Spurs away is definitely going to be one of those games where he picks up a lot of saves, so that's why I went for that instead of Villa. And then Game Week 10, 11 and 12 is where you can pick Areola. Now, you can see it as well in the top right hand of the screen. The team value is 98.1 million of the total team here, which leaves probably about 2 to 3 million in the bank for most people. So there's a lot of upgrades that you can make if you don't want this exact draft, or if you don't like the exact draft. Players like Martinez as well in goals, Pope could be very good options with those fixtures. But I do think for now going with Leno will be a good option because he does have good fixtures in the short term. So as we look into the defence then, we have Botman, Alex Moreno, Rico Henry, Estupinian and Kabore as well. Now you will notice Estupinian in the team, he is on the bench. Even with those difficult fixtures, I think he does look like the best defender in the game this year. So I think it's going to be very tough to get rid of him. As well, you're going to be wanting him back at some point as well, and he's already rose quite a lot. So if you're going to be selling him now, it's going to be tough to buy him back for the extra money. So I think I'd like to hold him. He's obviously on the bench now. I've got Rico Henry starting. This is obviously just preference. It's really whatever you prefer. We've also got Alex Moreno just back from injury. He done fantastic for Villa last season, and he's very capable of producing a lot of assists. I think he is just a bit better than Matty Cash is for that little bit extra. He's also nailed on at the left back spot. I don't think Digne is going to be pushing him out of there. So I think he will be solid. And I think clean sheets as well for Villa. We've seen their fixtures at the start of the video, and I think it's very possible Moreno could be one of the highest scoring defenders over the next few game weeks. We've also got Botman in here. We're still waiting on some news, I think, for whether he's going to be cleared for the weekend. 4.5 million, it just looks necessary to have, especially with that Newcastle defence. They are very good at keeping clean sheets, and 4.5 million is a steal for him. He would have been in most people's Game Week 1 team, but obviously Newcastle had a very difficult run, so I think if you're wildcarding this week, he is definitely a must-have. We've also got Kabore in there, probably the best 4 million defender there is right now, especially with Luton's double game week coming up. Again, it's fairly decent fixtures for Luton as well coming up, so he is one just probably that's going to sit in the bench anyways. He's not going to get too much game time, but he's at least a good option to have for that double game week. Next up, we're taking a look at the midfielders, and we're starting off with Bruno Fernandes on the far left. I think it would be a bit tough if you're wildcarding this week and not putting a Man United player in there. They probably have one, at least our top 3 for the easiest fixtures in the coming game weeks. So you're really picking one of Bruno or Rashford. For me, I think Bruno is probably going to be more of the solid pick. Obviously on penalties as well. Rashford has kind of moved on to the left the last 2 games, so we're going to hopefully see a lot more of him, but Bruno playing through the middle should be playing more advanced. I think he can do very, very well. The main reason for going for him is purely the penalties, and I think Bruno is a lot better for bonus points than Rashford is as well. And I think Bruno is probably the best Man United option, and as I say, I think it'd be tough not to go for a Man United attacker with their coming run. We've got the double Spurs midfield of Son and Maddison. I think it's good to get on Son early. A lot of people are going to be missing out on him because wildcards will be coming in a few weeks, and it could be tough trying to get Son in right now with players like Saka, Rashford, Foden. Those players are all kind of performing and you're not really going to be wanting to sell them, so a lot of people are going to be missing out on Son, and if he's going to be playing striker for Spurs, especially against Sheffield United at home, it's going to be a very, very good day for people who own him. The same with Maddison as well. He's had one of the best starts to the season, definitely one of the players of the season so far. And I think even with Arsenal and Liverpool coming up in their next 3 game weeks, there's still 2 players that can definitely get some points on the board. You're looking at Arsenal, that's a derby game, there's going to be goals in that, especially with the way Spurs are playing. And then you look at Liverpool as well, who really don't look too solid defensively. And it's probably one of those games that someone like Son will definitely thrive in. So Son and Maddison are there. We've also got Mbeumo as well. Mbeumo's probably the most solid pick you can get right now. It doesn't really matter on the fixtures, he just looks great. And again, he's also on the penalties for Brentford as well. So at 6.8 million, most of us would have started with him as well. So he's another one of those players that you don't want to take out because you're probably going to want them back again, and you don't want to lose out on that budget. We've also got Diaby, the second Aston Villa player in this team. Now, again, Villa have very, very nice fixtures. Diaby, I think, looks a bit better than Watkins does, but purely because he's cheaper. He gets the extra point for goals, and he seems to be playing a bit further up than Watkins. Watkins seems to be the guy providing the assists, and Diaby's finishing it off. So I think for me, I would be picking Diaby over Watkins. But yeah, I think the midfield looks very, very solid. Missing out on players such as Salah and Luis Diaz. Again, you've probably got money in the bank there, so you would probably be able to do Son to Salah, even at any point, as a transfer later down the line. But you could even do that right off the start in your wild card if you aren't interested in the double Spurs attack. But again, players like Luis Diaz as well. I think getting a Liverpool midfielder wouldn't be too bad if you don't want to double up on the Spurs midfield. Bringing things all together, we have the 3 attackers. We've went for Haaland, Isak and Morris. Now Haaland is obviously a staple in everyone's team, don't even need to talk about that. We've got Isak, and they are 7.7 million. Now there's going to be a lot of talk of rotation. Obviously, at the start of the season, Isak has been rotated quite a lot. He is coming off around or before the 70th minute, in pretty much I think every game so far. But he is still getting those points. Again, they did have some difficult fixtures, which are now turning around definitely for the better. I would really like to have a Newcastle attacker in there. Again, with Champions League coming round, there probably is going to be even more rotation. But in terms of the striker spots, I don't think there's that many good options. You've got Isak, and then you've possibly got the argument for Jesus as well, who I think is the only one who really comes close. Nick Jackson hasn't really been performing too well, keeps getting yellow cards, will probably get himself suspended. Watkins, again, we've got Diaby covering him off. So again, I don't really think there's that many good attackers or strikers you can go for right now, which is why I went for Isak, because I do want a Newcastle attacker for those fixtures that are coming up. We've also got Morris there on the bench at 5.5 million. Again, just another cheap option that you can play at any time, you can bench at any time, and again, have that double game week coming up where you could possibly captain him against Everton and Burnley. But again, that is the team. I think it looks very, very solid for the upcoming games. Again, the team value is 98 million, so you are looking to have a lot of money in the bank, which leaves things very flexible. Again, you can change to any of the expensive goalkeepers you want. At any point, you can really move Alex Moreno up to, say, Trent Alexander-Arnold, if you feel like making that move. Again, Son can go to Salah. Even Mbeumo can go up to someone who's roughly 10 million as well. So there's a lot of options there. And then once that double game week as well with Morris is passed, you can upgrade him to maybe a Jackson if he comes into some form as well. But again, like I said, there is a lot of flexibility in that team. Just before we go, I wanted to show more of a list view of the wildcard draft there. The blanks, or the greyer boxes, are showing where players would be benched. Again, this is just my view of things over the next couple of game weeks. So obviously you've got the goalkeepers where Areola would be benched against City, Liverpool, Newcastle and Villa. It lets you just kind of see the amount of green fixtures that are coming up. In terms of the red fixtures, you're looking at Henry and Mbeumo with Newcastle in game week 5. Again, Mbeumo I think is easily capable of scoring in that game. Henry, you can make your own decision, maybe go for Estepinian or maybe even Morris in that game instead. And yeah, we're looking at game week 6, Son and Maddison again, very capable of scoring against Arsenal. And the rest of the team again is basically all green fixtures. You can look forward to game week 7, 8 and 9 as well. But it is a very good team for the upcoming game weeks. And I think again you can make any real transfers, save some transfers. I don't really think any transfers are going to be needed with that team, unless any real player comes into form. But again, Morris is really only there, you can see down the bottom, for that double game week, and then you can look to move him on in game week 8 as well. And that wraps everything up for this wildcard video. Again, this video wasn't made so that you can just copy the exact draft, copy the exact strategy. It's literally just so you can get some ideas for your own teams. Again, this is just something I put together, a team that I would make if I was wildcarding this week, and then the benches that I would go for. Again, it is just really to give some ideas and help you out if you are wildcarding this week. So again, if it helped you in any way or you enjoyed the video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe, because I upload a lot of FPL content as well as Sky Fantasy Football and UCL fantasy content as well. So again, like the video and thanks for watching, and I will see you all in the next one.